Good evening. Tonight, I would like to talk about improving pronunciation in whatever language you're trying to learn. And I'm just going to share 4 points. And I think that if you embrace these 4 points, you will be able to improve your pronunciation in whatever language you're trying to learn. First point, it's important not to stress about pronunciation when you're trying to learn a new language. So I think that um, one idea that we need to throw out the window is the idea that we should be trying to sound perfect in the language, because that's just going to um, create a source of stress. Okay, and I think it's just really, really important to um, essentially accept that we're not going to sound perfect, and that we're going to have an accent when we're learning, when we're speaking the language we're trying to learn, and that that's okay. It's just really important to not be stressed about it. The second point is to embrace, basically to embrace this philosophy of always trying to improve your pronunciation regardless of your level. And I think that even if you're at the level where native speakers of the language you're trying to learn are saying, wow, you sound great, your pronunciation is awesome, you barely have an accent, that, you shouldn't stop there. You should always try to improve your pronunciation anyway. And if you're still at a really basic level where your pronunciation is still not that great, of course, just embrace the the idea of trying to improve. Try to practice more. Sit down with your tutor or your teacher and try to work on it. Point number three. Um, it's important to be a bit of an optimist, okay? Because I've met too many people who have this defeatist attitude when it comes to pronunciation, and they're like, you know what? I just came to terms with the idea that I can't sound good in Spanish or in French or whatever other languages. Just sound funny, and that's the way it is, and my pronunciation's terrible. Um, and I think that that becomes a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you convince yourself that you can't improve, then you probably won't. So I think that it's important to be um, a little bit optimistic and really feel like, okay, I believe I can improve. That's all. And the fourth and last point is patience. I think it's important to be patient when we're trying to develop great pronunciation. And it's important to realize that, it's it might take time. It might take a lot of listening, a lot of practicing, a lot of sitting there with your teacher or with a language exchange partner and like really trying to pronounce words like a parrot sometimes to improve. But I think that if you're patient, um, that's going to pay off in the long run, and um, you're gonna sound great when you speak. That's all.